Now, I hope I'm sitting in the right place. It doesn't look quite right. And I hope you can hear me. We're trying a new method. Where did that come from? I am trying a new method of recording today. So maybe the sound will be out of sync, or maybe I have resolved the problem. I'm thinking the former, but trying to think positively, I'll carry on, and no specific topic in mind. I've been asked to talk about jhanas, though, and the 8 jhanas you may have heard about. There are 4 rupa jhanas and 4 arupa jhanas. These are very deep states of samadhi, meditation, and even the first jhana is a considerable attainment in our practice. Yet it is a question that is raised quite often. And this video today is not about jhanas, because I have already made one. If you go back or just search English monk samadhi jhanas, something like that, you'll find it, where I made the video. It's quite short, half an hour, in a little temple in India. So it's a bit different to here, how it was only a few months ago, not long ago at all. But you can see I've changed colour. Not just robes have changed colour slightly, actually quite a lot. You can't tell on the camera, I don't think, but my robes in India are more red. But at my last robe offering, I did drop a big subtle hint that I was going to Thailand in order that I was more appropriately attired, the right colour. There's no wrong or right, but in Thailand, a Buddhist country, there is a range, a spectrum of colours. And my previous robes, which were over a year old or so, were a little outside of that spectrum. And with enough things for consideration, I didn't be wanting to be also walking around thinking not about what I look like, but what other people may perceive as this foreign monk in a very foreign to them looking colour. But anyway, as luck so had it and happened as it happened, some very kind Thailand people offered me some robes, which I had sometime before I left India. So jhanas, if you go back to that video, I explain the 4 stages of samadhi first, because without those you can't even, these aren't stages you have to go through exactly in some kind of order. One might jump to another or be stuck in one, but I explain all that in that video. It's good enough, the explanation, so I don't want to make another one now, but I will in the future. If you go back, I think 2 or 3 months, 4 months, it's there. It's easy enough to find. I found it very quickly, so I listened to it actually, which I never watch these videos or listen to them, because why would I? And I don't enjoy the experience either. It's quite horrific, because you want to delete it immediately, especially my last one. Never again. No wonder there's a precept that monks should never sing and dance, because for sure that's a mistake. So I had to listen to that because of these sound issues to see whether they're all the way through the video or not. Unfortunately, on that one, they weren't there. I wish they had have been, but there we go. We all make mistakes, even monks. And one thing even monks have to do also is abide by local laws and customs. And one of those things for a foreigner in any country, even monks, is visas. So I have I've had a nice long time here in Thailand, and I plan to stay. So I am leaving, but I'm coming straight back. No need to panic. I'm talking to myself here because I really don't want to leave. I'd like to stay here. So in the next a week, I don't know what day, I think it's Saturday, a week, so next Friday, very kind supporter of the monastery here, a man, a layman, an upasaka, is going to accompany me because I have to be accompanied because there's going to be payments necessary, there's going to be exchanges of documents, and I've been to the visa office once here, and it's quite difficult because, you know, we are bound by our Vinaya here, as we are everywhere else, but everybody, even in public office working in this country, also understands it very well. So they would not want to hand a monk a pen or a piece of paper directly. They will hand it, they will put it on a piece of cloth or a tray, and then you take it like this, if this is if they're a lady, for instance. And there's all of this uh, uh, extra difficulty when dealing with functions that one might feel a little bit more relaxed about ordinarily in another country. However, I really like it because it means that there is a respect from you to them as well as them to you. But despite the stress of the situation and the environment, this whole monastic life existence is maintained within that. So it may be there's a whole bunch of tourists in queues all chitting, chatting about, oh, can they do this? Can they do that? And pass me that, grabbing this, grabbing that. You feel protected once again by the rules, by the Vinaya. And standing there simply, someone will come to help and sort out your problem. And I've been very lucky, there have been no problems. I entered Thailand very easily with a visa exemption. My initial plan was to return to India, so I thought I'd need no more than that. It was 45 days. And towards the end of that period, I was still here. And once again, a kind upasaka, so a lady and another monk, because it was a lady, had to accompany me. It was his sister. And we went to the local tourist office, not tourist office, what they call immigration office, to, excuse me, coughing, I think it's the fan blowing dust or something, I don't know, to get a visa, an extension of an extra 30 days, which gave me 75 days, which is now up. Now, under process is my monastic visa, my monk's visa. But that takes a couple of months or so. It requires letters from the Office of Buddhism, which has to get authorization from the king, and down the whole hierarchy of the Raja Sangha. And my abbot here, the abbot of this monastery, he was away the last time I had to go to get my extension. So we were unable to get the process underway then. He subsequently returned, but then that means the time scale doesn't fit in. So I need to get another extension, which you cannot get another extension. So I have to leave the country. But just that way, about, I don't know, 2 hours drive or 100 kilometers or so, is the Cambodian border. So the layman and Pascal, the layman, and myself are going next Friday early in the morning at 7:30 on a minibus. So I'm guessing this is one he's arranged with some tourist person, tour operator, travel, someone who deals with foreigners here. And so there'll probably be some other long-term stayers, foreigners on the minibus. I'm expecting, maybe not monks, but some lay people, which would be interesting from different countries. I'll have the opportunity to speak perhaps because the Upasaka who's taken me, he speaks a bit of English, but not so much you'd have a chat or a conversation, not even as much as this, what I'm doing now. I mean, for 2.5 months now, I haven't really had a conversation other than with my mother, which is more about listening. She's 81, so she has quite a bit to say, and I listen because I don't have a lot to say that's going to be of much interest to her. Even if it's of interest to you watching. My mother's not that keen to hear me say all this. She doesn't watch these videos. So I'm going early in the morning in the minibus to the border. I think we just go across the border to the immigration office, get a new visa exemption stamp, or we just go out and come back in and get a visa exemption stamp, or I get another tourist visa. But whatever, I don't have to deal with all this. And this Upasaka, who's been to see me a couple of times here at the monastery, is a very wise man. He says to me, "You don't need to be thinking about this." And then every time he sees me, I say, "Oh, yes, the visa." And he says, "You're not thinking, are you?" I said, "No, of course I am. It's in the back of my mind. I'm trying not to think because I've got visa extensions. I used to have to do it every month for a while in India, and then every few months, and for many countries other than that also. So I'm very used to the process. Online, offline, in person, difficult countries, easy countries. I've kind of got a lot of experience, although a lot of it's changed in the recent few years. It's now relatively back to how it used to be. But anyway, he insists that I leave it alone completely and maintain concentration, or all my efforts must be put in the direction of my practice of sitting here in meditation and living as a monk and not dealing with these worldly matters. And he understands that, so he tells me to stop thinking. I think he means don't worry about it, but he's saying because they don't really worry, people in Thailand. It's a bit of a useless thing to do, of course, worrying. Worrying, what is it for? It's either about something we've done in the past or something that might happen in the future. Never a reality. The past is gone and the future is imagination. Nothing to worry about. So he uses this wonderful and beautiful expression, don't thinking, no thinking about it. So I'm not thinking about it. And actually it's nice not to be thinking about it. If it went horribly wrong, I know ways around it. A few phone calls here and there, but it doesn't matter. It won't. We'll go on the minibus, cross the border, and come back again. Leaving here at 7:30 in the morning. He says we'll be back here by 3 in the afternoon. Even if it takes a couple of days, for me, it's no problem. When I was in India, it would take at least a week because I'd have to go out of the country properly, and there's a big procedure about leaving, and then an even bigger procedure about getting the visa, and then just an equally huge procedure coming back in again. And I used to have to do this regularly. So this process is very simple by comparison. And that is going to be next Friday. And it reminded me, looking at this old video, of that world I was in. I'm in a relatively nice little temple there, making a video on this same old phone. I think I'm sitting quite close because I didn't have the external mic, and it's hot, it's noisy, people coming and going. It's hot here, And it's now noisy here because it's getting into hot season and there are lots of bugs, cicadas mainly, which make a lot of noise, and other jungle animals. But it's a different kind of noise. That's nature. Uh, Car horns, motorbikes, tuk-tuks, vehicles of all varieties, bicycle bells, people just shouting. To some extent it's nature, but it's a different kind of noise and sound. So watching this video, I could see that, and it just reinforced this aspect of rebirth within this life, this lifetime. If I could watch a big video of myself 10 years ago in a situation, I'd probably find that equally, well, but even more shocking. A bit longer than that ago now, probably 15 years ago. But I can't, and I've never been a sort of a social media or even photograph taking kind of person, so I can't even look back at photographs of them. However, this exercise of making these little videos has given me that opportunity, although ordinarily I don't look at them. This, by chance of looking at one yesterday, gave me a little insight into my life 3 months ago, and a good opportunity for reflection, because this is a practice, Buddhism, and we operate within boundaries in this practice, the boundaries of Sila. The boundaries of Sila are moral virtue of not killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, or taking intoxicants. But through meditation, we are hoping to transcend ordinary boundaries, let's say. Borders. If we take boundaries of Sila and transcend these borders, which are, after all, conventions to law in geographical areas, to determined zones and established countries and politics, it's important that they are in place, but our minds are not restricted by those borders. And nor are we in this day and age, modern day and age, by having visas and various documentation and authorizations. We can travel to most countries quite freely in the world. But our practice of meditation, to some extent, is to transcend that. So like this good Upasaka, Bill, his name is. I think it's what they call him. It's not his real Thai name, because Bill is an English name. But Bill is not thinking, is much saying that. So in transcendence, it's not saying, right, we go to some higher level, some ethereal level into these jhanas where nothing affects us. No, we stay right here, fully awake, fully aware. Yes, secluded from hindrances, secluded from perhaps even pleasure and pain, but still fully aware, awake to all that's going on, but with wisdom and equanimity. And this is that other aspect of our practice, meditation, how we are developing that equanimity. And then, of course, wisdom of Panya, this wise understanding. So all of these parts of everyday life, of course, my everyday life is a little bit different to how my everyday life used to be, and maybe how your everyday life is now. But essentially, it is only those conventions and how we perceive them, the importance we attach to them, and the expectations we may have of how things will go, or the comparisons we draw to how things have been, that either please us or disappoint us. But we're looking to transcend those borders in order that we can be relatively unaffected, not uncaring, but unaffected, being able to act appropriately within some level of wisdom and control. But without thinking, we are in control. But knowing, if we've kept sila, we can't do anything wrong. Or if we're perceived to be doing something wrong, we know in our hearts that we haven't, because the precepts are nothing out of the ordinary. For any religion, those 5 precepts are applicable. For any non-religious person, those 5 precepts are applicable. No one really wants to kill, steal, sexual misconduct, lie, or take intoxicants. They are things that may occur as a result of poor conditions, causes and conditions, or circumstances one may be in, or just a lack of understanding, a lack of wisdom, a lack of education even, or perhaps direction, misdirection, or bad example. But when we try to abide lawfully in any society, and when we travel, that can be quite a different concept. What is okay in this country may not be okay in another, and vice versa. One doesn't say, oh, well, it's okay in my country, I'm just going to carry on doing this, I don't care about them. No, there's an expression we have, when in Rome, do as the Romans. But what that means is, have respect for the environment you're in. Similarly, if you were to go into a church or a mosque or a Buddhist temple, one would behave appropriately to that environment and not just say, oh, I'm a Christian, so I'm not going to, it's okay for me to wear my shorts and vest, or go in without a vest at all, something like this, into a Buddhist temple or a mosque. One would cover themselves up and have that modicum of respect. So this is how we learn to live in community, both in our family life and in more extended towns or villages and societies and in countries, and then traveling into other countries. And just those simple basic rules enable that to be possible. If you break those rules, if you are a convicted murderer, the very likelihood is, even if you haven't been caught and locked up, you would not be able to travel at all. You'd be picked up on one of those very borders. And that is how society works, to protect us all. But we must look at it as beneficial to us all too. And by living by it, you are in effect also transcending it, because you're not arguing with it. You're going with the flow, going with procedure, equanimity. So I would have been here now 2.5 months, and I hope to stay here a lot longer. I'll have at least another 45 days visa, or 30 days tourist visa, another month after this. And that's plenty of time now for the abbot here, who's very kindly doing all the, well, I think Bill is doing the paperwork. The abbot will just go to the temple, to the senior monks, and get a stamp or something like this. I don't know how it works exactly. They may say no. They may say, no, you're a foreign monk, we're not going to do that. But I mean, this is not for me to be thinking about. Because I can go to Cambodia and back again, or it may be time to visit England and return. These things are never a problem. Can get difficult in some countries, but here at the moment it's relatively easy. Well, I think that's all I had to say today. A bit of a mishmash of things in this video, mishmash, mix up. I never plan these videos, but I have tried, which is not really the done thing in this monastic tradition, and that doesn't work. It doesn't work to plan them. Uh, that's a different kind of thing. Giving a talk that is planned is more like a lecture, a formal lecture. And just chatting like a vlog or a blog is perhaps the other opposite end of the scale. And what I think a Dharma talk or questions and answers, or even these kind of tea times with monks type of videos that you might have seen, are somewhere in between. So you see there's a whole spectrum, and there's nothing wrong with any of that spectrum. But the Buddha's path is the middle path, and everything we do is applied to that Noble Eightfold path. The right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right meditation, right mindfulness, and right meditation. And that in mind, everything we act upon, everything we do, and within the precepts, is along those middle path lines, in that area of the middle. And again, you'll have some boundaries and borders there. And I think I'll call this video Borders, no, Buddhism, Boundaries and Borders, or something like that, BBB. And that is as far as I need to go, I think, today. I hope the sound has worked, the picture has worked. I haven't been thinking about that, so maybe I've talked too long, because if it hasn't worked, it would have been a bit of a waste of time. But I'll post it anyway, because one doesn't have to look at the picture. You can just listen to the sound. Or if you don't like that, just watch the picture, or just don't watch it at all. This isn't essential. So I'll look at it quickly, not all the way through, and just check it to see if it's okay to put on YouTube. And then speak to you again very soon. I will on Friday, hopefully, as I'm traveling, make some videos of that little day out, of that journey. There might be some, there probably won't be much in the way of scenery, because it's going through main roads and towns, but there'll be something interesting along the way. So I will try and capture some of that to share with you my experience of going to another country, Cambodia, for just a few hours. And if it turns out to be a few days, it'll be a few days. But I'm not thinking about it. Bill is thinking about it. Many blessings with matter to Bill and to all of you. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.